Hello, good evening. This is Pete, live from Washington, D.C., joining you. I'm still trying to get the hang of OBS, so bear with me if this is not like the best stream, but sort of learning as we go. So, a lot's going on in the world right now. Um, Six of the Israeli hostages' bodies were found. They said there's supposedly another 129 of them still being held by Hamas. And I don't know why Israel, uh, you know, 10 months into this, nearly 11 months into this, think that continually bombing the hell out of Gaza is somehow going to help secure the safe release of the hostages. So I wonder how many are still alive. They found six bodies today, so Israel just wants to bomb the shit out of Gaza. Therefore, we have a genocide. Um, Tens and tens of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza have been killed directly by bombardment. As I said during my last stream, that according to Lancet, there's all these indirect deaths caused by the continuing bombing and invasion of IDF forces into Gaza. Some of those deaths being starvation, lack of water, lack of sanitation, and what kind of diseases that can breed. And again, Israel continues to bomb directly into refugee camps, UN-run schools. None of the six universities that were once in Gaza are still standing. They have been all six universities have been utterly destroyed there. Starvation is widespread. According to Oxfam, half of, actually more than half now of the Palestinian population in Gaza are under direct threat of starvation. So yes, Israel has not let adequate food, adequate amount of food to enter into this horrible situation there. So people are literally starving. This is the definition of a genocide. You wall people into a small area where there's really nowhere safe to flee. You continually bomb them, you invade, and you destroy infrastructure, you bomb hospitals, and so forth. And so this is why we have people protesting outside of the DNC this week in Chicago. The media is talking about Gaza during the DNC and openly speculating how the Democratic Party is going to directly respond to the ongoing genocide, which up to this point, President Biden's administration has gladly continued to support Israel and help underwrite this continuing genocide in Gaza. So, if it was not for the protesters, this issue probably would not even be discussed in the media right now. It would just be largely just, the Democrats are doing this, and Trump responds X, Y, and Z. And then this Democrat is speaking tonight at the convention, and Trump, insults them or whatever. And we wouldn't get much more than that. But now, actually, the issue of the Gaza genocide is being injected into this, thanks to the protesters. With that said, the first topic for tonight, I wanted to talk about strategic voting in the United States of America as it is currently stands. We have a complete winner-take-all system state by state. So you vote in one state, there is no transferal of that vote to another state, another jurisdiction. I say jurisdiction because I'm in the District of Columbia, which should be a state, but it's not. We do get 3 electoral votes in the presidential election, though. So 2024, the presidential election, I am specifically talking about strategic voting within that realm. You might have heard this phrase discussed. I don't know how many of you fully understand it, so I'm going to try and go through strategic voting. Basically, like I said, we have a winner-take-all state by state system when it comes to the general election, national general election. So really, I'm a Green Party member, and I live in the District of Columbia. Now, my votes, like I've said before, my votes in the District of Columbia do not transfer anywhere else. So, for the last 10 presidential cycles, the Democrat always gets between 88 to 94% of the vote. I think Obama might have been the high watermark of like 94%. Usually it's around 90, 91, somewhere around there. The Democrat gets that percentage of the vote. So there have been several elections in DC where actually the statehood Green Party, so originally it was the statehood party, the Green Party was formed later, and then the two merged, thankfully, because that's what we should be doing in this country, uniting the left wherever possible into coalitions. So the statehood Green Party now, there's been a number of elections where we've come in second place. So in a Democrat dominated, basically one party city, we do have the Republicans, but there has been several elections where the statehood Green Party has come in second place, beating the Republicans, and that's something that I would like to see continue happening because we have a small voice when it comes to general elections, but we, like I said, we do have 3 electoral votes, and we are where the capital is, the capital of the empire. So um, I think there should be a viable statehood Green Party here. I think Greens should be viable pretty much across the country. But when you have a situation like we do now with Donald Trump, not sure your parents or your grandparents' GOP anymore, um, we have an openly fascist, criminally insane person leading that party, and the vast majority of the people in that party are willing to just follow him jumping off a cliff into fascism, which he gladly wants to embrace. He is his platform. Basically, you can look at Project 2025, and even though he is trying to distance himself from that in the last few weeks, it is clear that people that were in the Trump administration are authors of Project 2025 and are still working behind the scenes to make sure that all green lights are ready to light up for go as soon as Trump is, if he wins again, as soon as Trump steps into office again. Project 2025, it's like a huge document. I've read only little parts of it. It wants to have a national ban on abortion. It wants to remove protections for sexual minorities. It wants to roll back pretty much all environmental regulations. And Trump, if you look at Trump's first term in office, he actually was moving towards that. So, a second Trump presidency, basically, queers like me and women will see rights disappear, protections disappear, um, repression probably come back into vogue at many different levels because Trump will green light that it's okay. Same with racism and bigotry in that regard. We saw that during his first term, that racial attacks, hate crimes went up during his presidency. And so we'll see that again. So, and not to mention, like I said, the destruction of the environment, basically. So I am in DC, so I feel safe in casting that vote for Jill Stein once again. Now, if you're in any of the battleground states, so right now, it started off being 6, but now they think that Kamala Harris's campaign has put North Carolina into play. So now there's 7 battleground states: North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Arizona. Did I miss any? No, that sounds. Oh, Georgia. I said Pennsylvania twice. Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona. There we go. There's the 7. Um, so yeah, the Democrats last won North Carolina in 2008, Obama's first run And that was really surprising. Obama won um, North Carolina. And then in 2020, Biden's victory over Trump, um, Georgia was won by the slimmest of margins, and that was very surprising, in my opinion. But you look at it, it shows the power of the black vote. And now there were actually a pretty sizable number of black voters that were not at all enthusiastic about Biden. And there's a good chance a number of them would not show up on election day. That is no longer the case with Kamala Harris running. So that is what strategic voting is. So if you're in one of those 7 battleground states, I will plead with you. If you're a strong, hardcore progressive, Green Party member, socialist, what have you, please, please, please. The alternative, Donald Trump, is far, far worse than a Harris-Walz administration. Now, should you protest Harris-Walz when they get into office? Absolutely. I protested many times against the policies of the Obama administration. Absolutely. You should keep pressure on um, with a variety of tactics, of course, during Harris-Walz administration, just like many protesters did during the Biden-Harris administration, and more actively for myself during the Obama-Biden administration. We were hitting the streets pretty regularly, protests. Not huge because, hey, that's what happens when a lot of people, a lot of the more, uh, how should I say, weekend warrior resistance Dems. When there's a Republican office, oh, they'll all come out to the protests, making our numbers much, much bigger. But the resistance Dems, as soon as a Democrat is in the White House, they don't really feel like coming out and protesting much anymore. So we don't see them for 4 or 8 years at a time there during that time period. So that's strategic voting. I plead with you, if you're in any of the battleground states, swallow your whatever dedication to the proletariat or what have you, and vote for Harris-Walz. And I will guarantee that in your sacrifice, I will definitely be voting Jill Stein here in Washington, D.C. Um, something came up recently, sort of social media interactions. I must be saying something correct because I'm pissing off the puritanical proletariat forever left wing folks by saying, like, talking about strategic voting, and that saying that there is a significant difference policy wise between Trump and Harris. Harris just released her economic agenda, and all of the main items are very progressive and nowhere near what Trump is talking about. Trump is talking about like slashing taxes for the very wealthy and rolling back regulations and so forth, and trying to dump more people off of healthcare, the AMA or Obamacare, what it used to be called. Um, putting millions of people back off of not having any health insurance, returning to those dark days, and maybe even worse. And so that's what Trump actively talks about. So that's why I urge you in the battleground states. Like, I don't care how purely progressive you are. Like, please don't fuck us all over and put us back a couple decades and have to deal with all kinds of the nonsense authoritarian bullshit that Trump will bring about. Um, yeah, but on the bright side, Trump's numbers continue to go down. Um, this evening, I saw a report that he is actually, funny enough, saying that he likes Barack Obama and respects him. That is the first time I've ever heard Trump say those words. Ever. I mean, Trump was the one that originated the whole birther movement, basically questioning Barack Obama's citizenship and doubting that he was even born in America. He said all sorts of insults about both Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. So now you see Trump twisting in the wind, and I think it's I See Fear. They showed the clip of him saying, "Oh, I actually like Obama and respect him," and he looks scared. Like Trump looks, I don't know, scared but nervous. I'm picking up the really like he's realizing he's beginning to lose this race, and so he's like, maybe I shouldn't be as like abrasive because I reckon he's saying to himself, I recognize that Obama is still a very popular figure, so I better do something because I'm fucking beginning to lose this race. There's been some other shifts too, but his stump speech is so negative, like and comparatively, I mean, I'm not a huge Harris fan. I do like Tim Walz. I'll be honest, I do like Tim Walz. But the Walz and Harris speeches are like so positive and looking towards the future, and Trump is still about like these petty attacks, personal attacks, and just negativity. He was saying today about like you can't cross the street without getting mugged or raped just to go get a loaf of bread across the street or something. Like he's trying to scare the shit out of people, but actually the number of violent crimes have been decreasing during Biden's administration, so it's all BS. Um, yeah, so there's that. Here in Washington, D.C., sadly, one of our council members has been arrested for bribery. Trayon White, who represents Ward 8, the poorest ward of all of them in Washington, D.C., and where when after Marion Barry, former Mayor Marion Barry, crack smoking mayor, after he did his prison term and came back out, he eventually, I think it was Ward 5. Yeah, Marion Barry was always Ward 5, and he had moved to Ward 8 and ran for Ward 8 and was elected again to the council for a few more terms. Uh, so Crayon White, who now is the council member for Ward 8, is Marion Barry's protege, basically. Marion Barry helped groom him for public office, and Crayon White saw Marion Barry as his role model. Well, now he's being arrested by the FBI, just like his role model was. It's a bribery scheme. I saw something in the affidavit, something about the taking $156,000 to pressure different bureaucrats within the DC government workers to accept um, contracts by the very same people that were paying Tran White, $156,000 in cash. Like, get me those government contracts, and I'll keep bribing you, giving you this money. So it's disappointing. It's not terribly surprising. I never was like a fan of Treon White. There was always kind of like, I don't know about this guy. So um yeah, he's kind of an oddball. He also was the one, like, was it 3 or 4 years ago? Yeah, something like that. 3 or 4 years ago, he was talking about conspiracy theories, and he confused the Rockefellers with the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds being this really kind of, it's anti-Semitic in origin, really. It's a slam on a rich Jewish British family. But he confused the Rothschilds with the Rockefellers. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? Do you know what you're talking about, Treyon? Like, first of all, these conspiracy theories are, specifically the one you're talking about, is anti-Semitic. Um, and they're just kind of batshit crazy, but you're like, even then, you're not even getting them straight. You're getting them confused. And he's very young. I'm not sure he was ready. I don't know. He comes from a poor background and poor area. I'm not sure he was really ready for city council, but, Marion Barry got him ready for it. And yeah, he's the protege. So now he's been arrested, charged with multiple felonies. There's a news item. I brought it up earlier. He actually founded a nonprofit. So there's like, and I think the nonprofit, well, it said the nonprofit was mentioned in the arrest affidavit. So that's probably fraud there too, fraudulent. So he was taking money from people, not just bribes, people that supposedly were, I guess, donating to this nonprofit. So there's something about, yeah, let me bring that up. Let's see. So And then his statement, his office released the statement after he was arrested. It doesn't really deny, doesn't really deny the crimes. You see the statement. Hmm. Yeah, in the statement, White's office asked for support and understanding of the community at this time. Let me see. See if I can get the full statement. Here it is. Here's the full statement. The Office of Councilmember Trayon White Sr. acknowledges the recent criminal complaint against Councilmember White. This matter is in hands of the appropriate legal authorities who will oversee the necessary proceedings. We recognize the seriousness of this matter. We want to assure Ward 8 residents and stakeholders that our office remains fully operational and steadfast in our commitment to serving the public. Our staff continues to work diligently to address the needs and concerns of our constituents, ensuring the essential services and initiatives are not disrupted. We appreciate the continued support and understanding of the community as we navigate this situation. For further inquiries, and that's his communications director. That's it, basically. It doesn't really deny the charges, so that's kind of concerning. I mean, you're innocent until proven guilty, but like if he was going to try and, well, I think I also read somewhere that there is discussion with prosecutors that he's probably going to plead guilty to some of the charges to have some of the other, plea agreement to have some of the other charges disappear, dismissed, thrown out. So that's how plea agreements work. It sounds like he's entering into talks with them for a plea agreement. Let's see. Yeah, the nonprofit connection was kind of interesting because he had founded this nonprofit, and it said the affidavit said that was involved in the bribery scheme. The 40-page affidavit in Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White's bribery case never mentions the name of the government contractor who helped the FBI in their operation. So yeah, one of the contractors turned him in because of this bribery thing. However, the court documents provide some details into this person's role in the case against White. The affidavit indicates that the contractor operated several businesses within the District of Columbia and that he agreed to plead guilty to a series. So the contractor agreed to plead guilty to a series of federal charges as part of a plea agreement. Oh, so then he turned on Trayon White and gave them the information, this contractor, by pleading guilty, and he shared information on Trayon White. And then it says the charges stem from fraudulent loans obtained through the federal government's Paycheck Protection Program and other corruption offenses, according to court documents. In exchange for the plea deal, the contractor agreed to cooperate with law enforcement, and he reported a corrupt relationship with White that included gifts. So not just the cash, but also including trips to the Dominican Republic and Las Vegas. Details in the affidavit helped WUSA 9 investigative team piece together that the nonprofit Life Deeds Inc. is connected to White's August 18 arrest. A photograph included in the affidavit shows a ledger with the grants from DC government agencies. In the ledger, the words floating team and 1 and 4 team and their corresponding grant values are listed. According to the city's website, its violence interrupter contract awards 1 and 4 is with the company Life Deeds Inc. Life Deeds also has a contract with the district for a floating team of violence. In 2019, DC terminated $3 million contract with this company to manage a shelter for homeless families just 4 months after it opened. That's strange. City officials say Life Deeds Inc. was falsifying background checks on staff members. Okay, I guess he didn't found Life Deeds Inc. He just has this weird corrupt relationship with them where they continually bribed him. But as I understand, it wasn't the only contractor. There was other contractors that were like trying to get the DC government contracts and bribed Trayon in that effort. So that I will read the full affidavit, so maybe I'll have more on it next live stream. So last, I was also going to talk about I mentioned the protests outside the DNC. I was going to talk about the future of the Green Party because Jill Stein just announced her running mate, somebody I'd never heard of. But he sounds like an interesting guy. He's a black Muslim professor of history from a university in California. I can't remember which one. Um, Ware is his last name. Ware is his last name. Ware. So she just announced that. He's quite a bit younger, which is good. Although I'm voting for Jill Stein a third time, I'm not really enthusiastic about it. And I'm in the District of Columbia, so that's the only, if I wasn't in DC, New York, California, or Massachusetts, I probably would vote for Harris anywhere else. Those are the bluest of the blue. So the future of the Green Party, I think we have to move beyond Jill Stein and people in her age group. Sorry to be ageist, but it's true. Millennials and Gen Z are progressive. You see this progressive streak very strongly in them, especially in Gen Z. And the Green Party needs to get more media savvy, meaning social media savvy. Um, and they have to go with younger candidates. They need to start recruiting really good younger candidates that have been involved in unionizing, um, so workers' rights stuff, environmental activism, so a lot of environmental climate change experience working on those issues. Those are the kind of, and they have to be younger. That's the future of the Green Party, I think. And I also really, really think they need to focus on city council races, state legislatures, and build up from there. I've long said that. And they do have a few city council members around the country, not many. I think they need to focus on this more, and the funding needs to be more state legislature and city council races more than just this every 4 year getting the headlines with your presidential candidate who has absolutely no chance in hell of winning. Um, so that's just my take on what the future direction that I think the Green Party go in. So there's there. That's that. There's there. That's that. That's about 30 minutes of me running my mouth. Okay. I will be doing. I think I'm going to be doing this every Tuesday and Thursday. So, okay, take care. Around this time, either 7:30 or 8:30, I guess. All right. Have a good night.